Greetings for the day, friends. You all know Ukraine and Russia war is going on now. On this latest update, yesterday on 9th of October 2022, sorry, today 9th of October 2022, Putin, the ruler of Russia, the person has tightened the security after a blast on key bridge connecting Crimea and Russia. You all might have known that Crimea was occupied by war by Putin. So now, because of some untoward incidents has happened, the main connecting bridge from Russia to Crimea has been blown up. It has been put on fire. So maybe this is a security lapse or something. Because of that, Mr. Putin has tightened the security of the area. Okay, so this is the thing, and nobody claimed the responsibility who had blasted the bridge or put on fire the bridge, which killed 3 people. Okay, the speaker of the Russian-backed regional parliament in Crimea accused Ukraine, but Moscow did not blame. Okay, Moscow means Russia did not blame Ukraine. Okay, after flame and smoke rise from Crimea bridge connecting Russia mainland and Crimean peninsula over the Kerch Strait in Kerch, Crimea, Saturday, October 8, 2022. An explosion Saturday caused the partial collapse of a bridge linking the Crimean peninsula with Russia, damaging an important supply artery for the Kremlin faltering war effort in southern Ukraine and hitting a towering symbol of Russian power in the region. So you might have understood. No? Nobody immediately claimed the responsibility for the blast, which killed 3 people. Okay, I have said you this, but Moscow did not blame. That also I said you. Ukrainian official reportedly threatened to strike the bridge. Maybe Ukraine only damaged the bridge in this war. So furthermore, Ukrainian officials repeatedly threatened to strike the bridge, and some lauded the destruction on Saturday. Some partied because of that bridge blown up. Okay, Ukrainian people, because Russia has damaged so many things in Ukraine. Because of that, Ukrainian people damaged this bridge and maybe might have damaged, and they partied, celebrated because of this good news. They have blasted that bridge. Okay, connecting Crimea and Russia. Okay, but Kiev stopped short of claiming responsibility. They did not. Ukrainian also, they do not claim the responsibility that we have not exploded. They do not claim that we have exploded like that. They have not claimed. The explosion, which Russian authorities said was caused by a truck bomb. Okay, it was blown by a bomb. Risked a sharp escalation in Russia. 8-month war with some Russian lawmakers calling for President Vladimir Putin to declare a counter-terrorism operation, shedding the term special military operation that had downplayed the scope of fighting to ordinary Russians. So this is something they are telling you are terrorists, and some people are saying that is a military operation. Russian people think it is a military operation against Ukraine, but Ukrainian people say this is a terrorist operation. All world maybe thinking that it is a terrorist operation against Ukraine by Putin sir, Russia. So Putin signed a degree late, decree late Saturday tightening security. Not Putin sir, Volodymyr president sir, Ukrainian Russia. He has tightened the security, okay, of this place and put Russia Federal Security Service, the main Federal Security Service, which is Russia's biggest security person. So it has been put up on watch and for security purposes they have been deployed in this region. Hours after the explosion, Russia defense minister of Russia, you know, announced that Air Force and Chief General Sergei Surovikin would now command all Russian troops in Ukraine. This person will all take care of this war in Ukraine and Russia. Surovikin, who is this summer was placed in charge of troops in southern Ukraine, had led Russian forces in Syria and was accused of overseeing a bombardment that destroyed much of Aleppo. Moscow, however, continues to suffer battlefield losses. So that person has fought wars in Syria also. It has been mentioned, and he has a lot of achievements to his name. That Surovikin. His name is Surovikin from Russia. He has done so many wars and he has a lot of medals in his name. You can think. He has done so much to Russia, and he has destroyed Aleppo city. Maybe Aleppo, maybe one place. He has destroyed the whole of the Aleppo. Okay. This is the thing. On Saturday, Kremlin backed officials in Ukraine. Kherson region announced a partial evacuation of civilians from the southern province, one of 4 illegal annexed by Moscow last week. Kirill Stremusov told Russia state-run RIA Novostosi agency that young children, their parents and the elderly could be relocated to 2 southern Russian regions because Kherson was getting ready for a difficult period. You might have gone through the news that Russia has, by fighting a war, has captured 15% of the Ukrainian land. In that land, some part of land, some civilians and children might be there. For evacuations, negotiations are going on between Ukraine and Russia. And the 19-kilometer Kerch Bridge on a strait between the Black Sea and the Azov is a symbol of Moscow claim on Crimea and an essential link to the peninsula with which Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014. The $3.6 billion bridge, the longest in Europe, vital to sustaining Russia's military operation in southern Ukraine. Putin himself presided over the bridge opening in 2018. So the main connecting bridge between Ukraine and this Russia, he himself inaugurated that bridge. That bridge also is claiming now. The attack on it will have a further sapping effort on Russian morale, will give an extra boost to Ukraine, said James Nexi of Chatham House, a think tank in London. Conceivable the Russian can rebuild it, but they can't defend it while losing a war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a video address, indirectly acknowledged the bridge attack but did not address its cause. That bridge which has been damaged, but he did not say that it was damaged by us, but he said it has been damaged. Okay. Ukrainian president, the president of Ukraine, okay, war between Ukraine and Russia is going on. Ukrainian president is Zelensky and Russian president is Putin. So this is the thing. Today was a good and mostly sunny day on the territory of our state, he said. Unfortunately, it was cloudy in Crimea, although it was all warm. Zelensky said Ukraine wants a future. without occupiers throughout our territory, in particular in Crimea. So you might understand this other part Russia is Putin and Ukraine's Zelensky. The other part Zelensky sir, he is saying he don't want any occupier or fight and winning our land. He doesn't want. He wants his own land and he wants to stay in it peacefully. He said like that in his statement. Zelensky sir also said Ukrainian forces advanced or held the line in the east and south, but acknowledged very difficult, very tough fighting around the city of Bakhmut in the eastern Donetsk region, where Russian forces have claimed recent gains. So Russian forces claimed some region. You understand Donetsk region. That region claimed, but Ukrainian military forces also went there and they are also fighting for that land. Also, Russian National Anti-Terrorism Committee said a truck bomb caused. Russia's defense or national that agency said a truck bought a bomb in it and blasted that bridge. Caused 7 railway cars carrying fuel to catch fire. Some tanker or fuel tankers were also moving in that road. That fuel tankers also caught fire on that bridge. Because of that, total bridge collapsed. You understand that, okay? Resulting in partial collapse of 2 sections of the bridge. A man and woman riding in a vehicle on the bridge were killed. Russia's investigation committee said it did not say who the third party victim was. All vehicles crossing the bridge are supposed to undergo state-of-the-art checks for explosive. The truck that exploded was owned by a resident of the Krasnodar region in southern Russia. The Russian investigation committee said, adding the man's home was searched and experts were looking at the truck's route. Train and automobile traffic over the bridge was temporarily suspended. Automobile traffic resumed Saturday afternoon on one of 2 links that remained intact, with the flow alternating in each direction, said Crimea's Russia-backed leader Sergei Aksyonov. So this is a very huge bridge maybe. In that 2 lanes were open for public to travel. In some part of the bridge was damaged. You understand like that, okay? Rail traffic was resuming slowly. 2 passenger trains left the Crimean city of Sevastopol and Simferopol and headed towards the bridge Saturday evening. Passenger ferry links between Crimea and Russia mainland were being relaunched Sunday. While Russia seized areas north of Crimea early during its invasion of Ukraine and built a land corridor to it along the Sea of Azov, Ukraine is pressing a counter-offensive to reclaim the territory. Okay. The Russian defense minister said its troops in the south were receiving necessary supplies through that corridor and by sea. Russia's energy minister said Crimea has enough fuel for 15 days. Russian war bloggers responded to the bridge attack with fury, urging Moscow to retaliate by striking Ukrainian civilian infrastructure. Putin ordered the creation of a government panel to deal with the emergency. So this is war-like situation between Ukraine and not situation. It's happening. It's a war. Okay, Russia and Ukraine. Okay. So the department, defense department, they are saying you blast public property in Ukraine. They have damaged our bridge connecting Crimea and Russia. We should also damage some property of Ukrainian, which is public property. You also damage some public property, and they should suffer. This is the saying of the Russian bloggers. Okay, Ukrainian civil infrastructure they are saying. Okay, Gennady Zunganov, head of the Russian Communist Party, said the terror attack should serve as a wake-up call. The special operation must be turned into a counter-terrorist operation, he declared. Leonid Slutsky, head of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the Russian Parliament lower house, said consequences will be imminent if Ukrainian was responsible, and Sergei Mironov, leader of the Just Russia faction, said Russia should respond by attacking key Ukrainian infrastructure. Such statement may herald a decision by Putin to declare a counter-terrorism operation. The parliamentary leader of Zelensky party cast the explosion as a consequence of Moscow's takeover of Crimea. Russian illegal construction is starting to fall apart and catch fire. The reason is simple. If you build something explosive, then sooner or later it will explode, said David Arakhamaya of the Servant of the People Party. The Ukrainian Postal Service announced it will issue stamps commemorating the blast, as it did after the sinking of the Moskva, a Russian flagship cruiser, by a Ukrainian striker. The Secretary of Ukraine National Security and Defense Council, Oleksiy Danilov, tweeted a video with the Kerch Bridge on fire and Marilyn Monroe singing her "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" song. Putin turned 70 on Friday. In Moscow, Foreign Minister spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said the reaction of the Kiev regime to the destruction of civilian infrastructure shows its terrorist nature. The Crimean Peninsula is a popular destination for Russian tourists and home to a Russian naval base. A Russian tourist association estimated that 50,000 tourists were in Crimea on Saturday. Elsewhere, the UN nuclear watchdog said Ukrainian Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has lost its last remaining external power source as a result of renewed shelling and is now relying on emergency diesel generators. Ukrainian authorities were also just beginning to shift through the wreckage of the devastated city of Lyman in eastern Ukraine, assessing the humanitarian toll and possible war crime after a month-long Russian occupation. Some people died in their houses, some people died in the streets, and the bodies are now being sent to expert for examination, that said Mark Terchenko of the Kramatorsk district police. Explosion also rocked the eastern Ukraine city of Kharkiv early Sunday, sending plumes of smoke into the sky and triggering secondary explosion. As Ukrainian official accused Russia of using surface-to-air missile into largely residential neighborhood. Kharkiv resident Titaina Samolenko apartment caught fire in the attack. She was in the kitchen when the blast struck, sending glass flying. Now I have no roof over my head. Now I do not know what to do next, the 80-year-old said. This is the full story. Thanks for watching. Putin tightens security after blast on key bridge connecting Crimea and Crimea with Russia. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.